We have a new phone to check it out, and for the first time ever, we will have this brand on our channel to unbox, test it out, and have a first impression. This is the Vivo Y31. Let's go ahead and unbox this phone. Hey guys, James here, and this is Tech M.N.O. I miss you guys so much, and I'm so happy that I'm back doing videos for you. And for those who greeted me for my fast recovery, thank you so much for your wonderful messages. Let's set that aside for now and talk about the phone. So, we will unbox one of Vivo's mid-range smartphones that's been released this year, the Y31, which, like what I said a while ago, a first in our channel. I am so excited to test it out, give you my full thoughts, and see if it's worth your money. But before we dive into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell icon to get you notified when a brand new video will come out. And don't forget to follow me on my social media accounts at TechM.No. And don't forget to join our giveaway right now. Links will be up there or in the video description below. Also, this video is not sponsored by Vivo or anyone else. All of the things that I will say here are mine only, and they don't have any editorial inputs on this video nor have early previews. Now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and unbox the Vivo Y31. Here's the retail packaging of the Vivo Y31. It comes in a typical white and blue box like we saw on the previous mid-range phones of Vivo. On top of the box, we can see that the model I have here is an 8GB RAM and 128GB of storage. At the back, we can see its featured specs, and below of it is the basic information of the phone. And finally, we can see here that the color we have is in ocean blue. Let's go ahead and open this phone's seal. Opening the box right now, the first thing we saw was a small box containing the jelly case of the phone, some paperwork like the warranty cards, and the SIM ejector tool. Next is the phone. We will set that aside for a moment and let's see what else comes in the box. Once we remove the paper divider, we have a white charging brick which is rated at 18 watts. Next is the USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and finally, earphones with a 3.5mm jack. Nice touch, Vivo. Now, we will remove the other things on the frame here, and let's go ahead and check the phone now. Removing the plastic covering, and here it is, the Vivo Y31 in all of its phone glory. Wow, that blue is nice, and that gradient, I really like it. Alright, time to power it up now and put the case on the phone. I will set this one up off camera, and we will go ahead on the specs and my first impression on the Vivo Y31. Alright, let's start my first impression of the Vivo Y31 on the color and design. And let me tell you, the back is very gorgeous. Vivo is really well known to be one of the brands to have a very vibrant and millennial colorways when it comes to releasing smartphones, since they're targeting the youth with the chic and stylish users on the market. And as we can see, it is very prominent on their V series of phones, like the more recent release, the V21 5G. And the Y31 is no exception here. Like I said a while ago, the color that I have here is in ocean blue, but you can also pick up this other color which is called racing black. The gradient here is quite subtle but very pleasing to the eyes. The colors are ranging from an ocean blue to a light blue, aqua green, to a somewhat lavender-ish and a little hint of white. I also like the matte finish here on the back of the design of the Y31, but I'm kinda disappointed that even though it's matte, it's still prone to smudges and fingerprints, if you can see here. So if you want to have a pristine condition for its back design, you need to use the included jelly case. And speaking of pristine condition, even though the design is really premium and the look of it is borrowed from the V series, maybe you will be quite bummed out that the back and the frame of the Y31 is made from polycarbonate plastic. Well, for me, I didn't expect to have an aluminum chassis here for its price. But in contrast, it's very well built and it's quite grippy too. Look at its phone ports and button placements. On top is a microphone hole and a triple card tray slot for 2 nano SIM cards with a dedicated micro SD card slot if the 128GB is not enough for you. On the right side houses the volume controls and the power button that doubles up as a fingerprint scanner. On my testing, it's really fast and very reliable too. On the left side is clean, and finally on the bottom is a speaker grill, the USB-C port, another microphone hole, and a headphone jack. Yes guys, a headphone jack. Thanks Vivo. And finally, let's talk about the camera bump for the Y31 for a moment. It's quite big, but not to the point that it will wobble on the surface. Again, use the included case if you want to protect it. So now, let's talk about the Vivo Y31's display here. It has a huge 6.58-inch IPS LCD display with a full HD resolution and a 401 pixels per inch and a P3 wide color gamut screen. There's no specific type of glass Vivo use here on the front display, so a little bit of caution there. There's a pre-installed screen protector on it, or if you can buy a tempered glass if you want one. I will leave my final thoughts on my final review because if I only use it for a couple of days, but my first impressions on its display are very bright and vibrant even though it's only an IPS LCD. And if we inspect the front, the bezels on top where the camera selfie here plus the earpiece on its sides are thin enough, but the chin is quite big here. But you know, that's expected because it's a mid-range phone. Let's go straight ahead to the performance of the Vivo Y31. The processor of this phone is the 11nm Snapdragon 662 octa-core chip with an Adreno 610 GPU. The RAM and storage capacity available in the Philippines is only at 8GB RAM and at 128GB storage configuration, which is a great thing for a mid-range phone on this caliber. Other things worth noting for this phone is it has a dual-band Wi-Fi support, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, and it only supports 4G LTE bands. In terms of software, it runs on Android 11, but Vivo puts their own user interface called FunTouch OS on top. So here's a little story for you guys. Actually, before, I really hated this UI skin because it really looks and feels like an iOS skin really gone wrong. I know that because I work as a phone salesman and I really hated it and it's so heavy. But what I can say right now is it's really stock-like and it's really light. Yes, there are some additional things that they put on like themes and lock screen carousels as an example, but the overall feel to it is a breath of fresh air for me and it really grows on me. Alright, let's talk about the cameras of this phone. It has a 48MP wide lens with a face detection autofocus and a twin 2MP camera for macro and depth. It can record at Full HD at 30 frames per second with electronic image stabilization for that primary lens. On the front of the phone has a 16MP camera for selfies that houses in that little tiny true top notch here. I will test it out for you if the photos and videos are good in my final analysis, which will drop soon. But in the meantime, here are some sample shots. And last but certainly not the least is the battery. The Vivo Y31 has a beefy 5000 mAh battery capacity that, alongside with the battery efficiency of the Snapdragon processor here, Vivo claims to have at least 18 hours of watching movies or an all-day battery life. Charging the Y31 is quite fast here, thanks to its 18W fast charging support with the bundled 18W charger, and claims that you can recharge it from 0 to 70% in just 64 minutes. Let's see if the claim is legit and how long this phone will be full charge with its large battery once we use it for a spin. And right now, let's talk about its price. The Vivo Y31 is currently selling at 12,999 pesos and it's available online and Vivo stores nationwide. With all of the specs it has right now under its belt, will it justify being a worth it daily driver phone for you? Or there's some other phones that needs to be considered for your preference? Well, all of the questions you have right now will all be answered in my full review, which I will release soon. Also, I will compare this Vivo Y31 with some other phones that have the same or almost same specs, including my Poco M3 phone, which has the same processor as the Vivo phone right here. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified on that video. And if you want to watch my other videos, you can check my playlist right here or my recent video right here. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Again, my name is James and I will see you guys on the next one.